Computer. Okay. Welcome to another episode of Breaking Business Barriers Monday edition. My name is Brandon Straza, also known as The Real Naked H, along with
Brent and Brandon.
And today you've got the two of us, and there's a reason behind that. Brent and I just got out of prison. Yes, I said it. We just got out of prison. Now, this is my second stay there, and fortunately, I get let out at the end of every evening, and this was Brent's first time there. You haven't heard us talk about this that in depth before, and we're going to actually have a full episode coming up this week where we go into a little more detail, but in the meantime, we wanted to drop a few meaningful, heartfelt experiences that we were able to experience when working with these EITs, entrepreneurs in training. And Brent, as this was your first experience, I'm going to let you kick it off with just a couple thank yous that you might have and some of your thoughts on what we just went through in it's a max 4 penitentiary. It's the highest level security in the state of California. We flew all the way from Texas to California to be with some amazing people such as Steve Sims, Andrew Kwan, and so many other people. But take it away.
Well, for sure. That my first shout out and thank you would be to you. You were exposed to this previously, and you gave me a ring before and your experience and just right after it. And you said, BD, this is something you really should do. And I didn't hesitate. I don't think it took me all 5 seconds to say, okay, I'm in. You know, the other shout outs you've already mentioned, Steve Sims. You know, he had been there, I think, previously to this one 7 times.
Yeah.
And then Andrew Kwan, who had more experience with the Kearns prison than anyone.
Not Andrew Kwan, but Andrew.
Excuse me. And then the president and CEO of Defy Ventures. My bad. I'm sorry. And then Kwan, who had been there, and he doesn't hide the fact that he had been there as an inmate, but he's also a great human being now employed with Defy and is a great ambassador, not only for the EITs, entrepreneurs in training, but those of us who were volunteers. So shout out to them. And then every other volunteer besides us, there were 16 others that took the time out of their, and not only took time, but also donated money to be on the venture and not adventure, but venture. And we walked into something that I really had a whiteboard approach to it, didn't know what to expect. You told me a little bit about it, but you also reserved quite a bit to let me formulate my own thoughts, Strauss.
Yeah. As this was my second time, and it's not to sit there and brag, be like, hey, listen, I went back to prison. The experience from time 1 to time 2 completely different from me, because the second go around, we had previously worked on their business plans, pro formas, resumes, and this time it was listening to their presentations and their pitches that had been formulated from before. And what really got me this time was I got to see their families before they even came in. And that was the emotional 3 or 4 times, seeing their families and getting to meet some of them. Some of the EITs were fortunate enough to still have that relationship with their family, and some weren't. But the EITs that I'd made that connection with previously, again, entrepreneurs in training, and their families, it wasn't like something I can really describe. I sat there as a father myself, and I sat there and I said, these parents, they look like me. Not that I didn't expect that to be the case. And their sons and daughters, as there are some, yep, there's a little bit of noise going on in the background right there. I think you just heard. Their sons and daughters, as there are some that are transitioning. There are 2 in the EIT program that are transitioning. You sit there and you say, as a parent, like, they chose to go this way versus this way. Now, some of them, listen, they didn't have that family support. A lot of them, by the age of 5, I think all but 2 of them, their parents had been through the system. And you just really, it makes you take a step back and you say, how did this happen when they had that family support? And it makes you really think, like, you can do as much as you want as a parent, but it doesn't mean that your child's always going to take that right road.
So a couple of things, as Strauss says, we'll dive deeper into this in a future episode here real soon. A couple of things. Why would we want to go do this? It was a method of giving back to a group of human beings that are probably looked at as lowlifes, probably earned, but don't judge. Along with the fact that they're human beings. There's some really, really intelligent people there. I will say that. These business plans that they put together, it was a Shark Tank type presentation. For those of you who are familiar with that, they give a pitch of a business. They have very limited resources, no internet access. They had some friends and family that helped them with some details, those that actually see friends or family. Along with the fact, and we'll dive into what our initial experience was on this trip as we were getting ready to go across this big, massive, I'll call it a campus. I think it's probably a little bit more polite than really what it is. We go into this holding pen outside. It's hot outside already.
Barbed wire, electric fences, and it says death. It puts right on there that you touch the electric fence and it's going to kill you.
Yeah, we're standing out there, and we'll dive more into it. But my first experience of being outside and look at this big, massive campus was pepper spray. I heard a boom, and it looked like it was quite a ways out, maybe a quarter mile. I saw the smoke, but all of a sudden we all started to sneeze, cough, rub our eyes, and the reason being, in one of the
yards.
Yep. There was a fight, and they used pepper grenades, and we were the result of that. And let me tell you, for a half hour, my eyes were freaking pouring from that stuff, and I can't imagine being real close to it, and as did everyone. So maybe that was a headliner. That was the roughest part of the day, but it was on lockdown, if I remember right. They went into lockdown there. That's what happens when stuff goes on like that, which is daily. Again, it was a maximum security prison for violent offenders. And again, we'll dive more into it, but if you can't coin it anything other than life-changing, and Strauss and I will get into more of it with Doc, and he'll ask us about the experience, but I'm going to tell everybody that I know, give it a shot, because it opened my eyes to a lot of different things.
Yeah, and here's what you're going to find out, and it's the unfortunate thing, and at the same time, I also get it. You're going to hear a lot of people that say, "Wow, this is awesome." Hearing about the experience, this is really cool, and you're going to sit there and you're going to say to them this: "Hey, here's the next date that it's happening. You should come with me." The amount of people that will start backpedaling and saying, I get it. Number one, people have got families, people got work, people got businesses. But the reality is, it's more people will think how cool it is than wanting to actually do it. Maybe they had a different experience in life. We can't take that away. Or they were affected by some form of criminal activity that happened. What I can tell you is these people and their families are amazing human beings. I'm not sitting there condoning what they had done previously, but when you get to step up to a line and find out how much you have in common with the person through the, true or false activity, it's truly amazing. And then some of the things that we haven't experienced, and you sit there and it makes a little more sense on the path that they possibly took, unfortunately, but they are real people. They are amazing people. And we got to work on their business plans. I tell you what, BD, I'm going to leave it with this. I've seen some pitches in my time, and I'm not just talking like Shark Tank. I'm talking like face-to-face, where people have come to you and I and sat there and said, "Hey, business idea, I'd love to pitch you." And I saw some better pitches than I had seen from people that have more opportunity, obviously more freedom and more resources the other day than what we see as the EITs call it sometimes is the real world. So I'm just floored with some of the presentations and pitches that we got to see, and it was pretty cool. The individual that won it after several rounds was one of the guys that I coached last time, and super exciting about that. So again, my name is Brandon Straza, also known as the Real Naked Agent, along with
Brent Duham.
and we will see you on the airwaves.